Welcome back in. We're partnered with Stare Down Sports. Stare Down Greatness. And man, speaking of greatness, wow. It's set. College football playoffs. Playoffs? College football playoffs. We have that beginning, I think, 2 weeks from now, December 20th. We got some games kicking off Friday night. And I hate to say it, but your boy's heart is torn into pieces about one of these games. So we'll get into that a little bit later into the day. But before we get into that, we got some NFL Week 14 to go over, recap some of that. We're going to talk some NFL division standings. We brought them up a little bit here and there. We've talked about some of the teams we like. Hey, people. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers just passed the Falcons. And we might have some other movement, some other divisions. We'll have that to talk about today. And, man, cannot wait. We have that going for today. Obviously, then tomorrow we'll have Pickem. Might be a slight bit delayed. I have a doctor's appointment that might cause that to get delayed by a couple hours. But you can expect it tomorrow. But without any further ado, we aren't talking about tomorrow. Let's get into the review, recap of everything that happened in Week 14 of the NFL. But as we talked about a few months ago, this is officially now, it's cutting room floor time, man. There's some of these games we aren't going to talk about fully. Like, I'll admit, teams that are out of the playoffs, we don't need to be bothering you anymore. It's about playoff time. We need to spend a little bit more time on the teams that are making it. So, like, for example, Jacksonville Jaguars, Tennessee Titans. That game going to probably get about 30 seconds of time. I hate to say it. But past that, I mean, like, Seahawks Cardinals will spend a little bit more time on games like that. 49ers Bears. You'll get brought up, but we ain't going to talk about you too much. So this is about the time we need to lock into some of these playoff teams, talk about what's happening with the playoffs and everything, and just get our eyes focused on, you heard it, the playoffs. Because, man, Week 14, we got 4 true weeks left of the season. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4 weeks left. We're going to be we're pretty much in Week 15 already with what happened Monday night, but wow. Week 14, it was a fun one, man. Got some good games to start off. Thursday night wasn't too bad. Packers-Lions, 31-34. I mean, it truly felt like the Lions were going to be, it's like, oh, wow, are the Lions actually going to lose this? Are the Lions actually going to lose this? Even had a very, very interesting fourth down call in their own end. I believe in the third quarter, not the fourth quarter. Ended up not working out for them, led to some Packers points. I mean, this was a really, really close game. The Lions ended up stealing out the win because of aggressiveness. So aggressiveness looked like it was going to bite them in the ass. In the end, it ends up helping them win it. They win 34-31. And really, really fun game. Josh Jacobs has a shit ton of touchdowns for the Packers. 3 of them things damn near could have been a fourth, but the fourth one got called back. Past that, I mean, Jordan Love, not a bad game from him. 12 for 20, 206. I mean, Christian Watson, 4 for 114. Dontavian Wicks, 4 for 49. And David Montgomery, 14 carries, 51 yards. Gibbs, 15 for 43. Rushing game was kind of held down a little bit for the Lions. I mean, Jared Goff, 32, 41, 283 passing. Weird game, stat-wise. Because you look like Amon-Ra, 5 for 43. Tim Patrick, 6 for 43, and 2 of them things. Shout out Tim Patrick, man, balling out. But yeah, it was just a really weird game. The Lions defense, flying around. For the guys they had out there that weren't the same guys they normally had, the boys were playing pretty hard. Those boys were balling out for sure. And, I mean, it was truly... I was trying to find the best way to put it. I mean, this was a game where it back and forth the whole way. Really, really good game to kick off the week. And like I said, I mean, you truly thought the Packers might steal it. The Lions end up, like I said, they get a fourth down to go their way. Jared Goff basically tripping as he hands it off because the lineman steps on his foot. They get the first down, end up kicking the field goal to win it. And your Detroit Lions now improved to 12-1. They are the number 1 team in the NFC. Still not clinched. Which is crazy because, I mean, that Vikings game with them truly might come down to the last game. There's some... Let's see. So, Dan Campbell knows why other coaches won't go for it on fourth down. He says, well, here's the obvious. What happens when we don't get that? That's the obvious. We're moving to the next house, Campbell said. That's why I teach his own. There's plenty of philosophies that work in this league. I mean, he's right. If you fail too many fourth downs and you don't get it right, good chance you're getting out of town. I mean, coaches are they're going to want to keep their job. Let's just put it that way. They're more leaning on the side. If it comes down between them or somebody else, obviously I'm assuming coaches will pick themselves majority of the time. So when it comes down to play calling, like, we can go fourth down here or we can just do what everyone else does. I mean, if we lose, hey, we didn't lose because we made any dumb decision. We just lost because of a loss. But that's why we love Dan Campbell, honestly. It's because of his aggressiveness. You will beat him through and through, and we love it for him. Because really, like him through and through. And you can't. Why do those guys play so hard? I mean, we saw at the beginning of their tenure. I mean, the Lions were bad. What was it 0-11 before they got their first win? 0-10, and then the next year they go 1-6 afterwards before they flip it around. I mean, the Lions, man. Those damn Lions, man. I mean, they're a really great team to watch. I mean, the Packers. We said all that about the Lions, and the Packers are 9-4, only 3 games back of them, and they might be the team of the future potentially. Because, I mean, Jordan Love, that boy is starting to heat up a little bit. But shout out to the Lions, big win for them on Thursday. This takes us into the Sunday slate. Saints 14, Giants 11. I mean, we don't need to go into this game. Kendre Miller, shout out to him, getting his first NFL touchdown. And it's awesome to see him actually get some touches and everything, especially after all the stuff we heard happen to him with the Saints' old coach and everything. Both of Darren Rizzi. Darren Rizzi's their current coach. Dennis Allen, everything that happened with him and everything. Very happy to see Kendre Miller get a fresh slate there, especially as a guy, personally, your boy. Big TCU guy when they were on their run, and he was a big part of that. Juwan Johnson catches a touchdown pass for Derek Carr in the third quarter, but 14-11. Derek Carr gets hurt. He's probably done for the season. Is it the last time we saw him in a Saints uniform? I think there's honestly a really good chance of that happening. We won't know for sure. We'll talk about the Saints a little bit more as the season reaches its end, and we need to talk. I mean, yeah. Saints are making the playoffs. We don't need to talk about this game too much. I mean, the Saints get a win 14-11. Darren Rizzi having an all-time coaching clinic for the interim head coach, because shout out those Bears, man. They didn't do the new coach bump very good, huh? The first team that I can remember that literally got their asses kicked to them in a new coach theory, and new coach theory doesn't exist anymore, does it? The Bears might have, or maybe the Bears are just the Bears. We might have to consider that. But Saints win 14-11. Jaguars win 10-6. Honestly, not shocked at all the Titans lost this game. I think we talked about it during our pick'em that we're going to pick the Titans, but this feels like a game that either side really truly could win. And it's honestly shocking the Titans lost this. They had no reason to lose this. I just can't really pinpoint it. Can't tell you where they lost it in this game. I mean, you're just watching them. Their offense is just... I don't know. I truly don't know. These two teams are just not that good this year. And now they're both 3-10. Not too shocking at all. I mean, if you heard our show at the beginning of the year, this is kind of... I mean, I expect them to have maybe 4 wins each or something like that, but we kind of expect them to be bad, but man, 10-6, that basically sums up how both these teams' seasons are going. Jaguars get first win with Mac Jones, and then Titans... This article says, Jaguars get first win with Jones and Titans slim playoff hopes. I can tell you right now, them Titans were not making the playoffs. That would have been a massive shocker if they were able to make the playoffs. But yeah, shout out to Jaguars to get a massive win 10-6. Don't really need to touch on that game anymore, if we are being honest. Bears lose 38-13 to the 49ers. Shout out Juwan Jennings and Isaac Guerrero. Both those boys having 2 touchdowns each. Balling out. 49ers look like the 49ers of old. And the Bears, at one point in the first half, the Bears were getting out yardage-wise. They had, I think it was 4, total yards, and the 49ers only had about 315 or so. So that pretty much should tell you about how the game went. Just a failed season for the Bears, let's be honest. Eberflus, I mean, let's be honest, they shouldn't have kept Eberflus to begin with, and they did, which was their first issue, and then now they've delayed Caleb a whole year. They pretty much just washed away a year of Caleb's, I guess, career. I mean, at least he's had a chance to learn under the fire a little bit, so maybe hopefully it'll help for him next year. But, yeah, them boys, they didn't play too good. And by them boys, I mean the Bears. I mean, 38-13 is being generous. I mean, this shit was over. I mean, it was first, second quarter. We gave out Bears, I think, +4. I think within, the first 2 series of 49ers scoring, you're like, oh, yeah, this is over. So, at least give the Bears credit for that. They made us not even have to sweat that out. That was okay, this game's over. Sweet. And I'll admit, your boy had a 13-leg parlay that was lost by 2 legs. The Bills, who lost to the Rams 42-40, we'll talk about that. 44-42, we'll talk about that game right now. Yeah, but right after I explain this point, but yeah, basically, I think it was a 13-legger missed by 2 legs, and I'll admit, I was heartbroken at first. The Bills ended up losing, so it didn't matter. But I was a little bit heartbroken at first, but then the Bears just got absolutely pounded and everything. So it's like, All right, yeah, that was destined to lose. Thankfully, so it wasn't a heartbreaker at all. It was, hey, thank you, Bears. Yeah, made me realize I had some losses right away and didn't have to sweat them out. But another team that actually blew up that parlay for me later, where it's like, wow, Bills 42, Rams 44. Wow. I just can't even put the words together to describe how awesome this game was. Definitely up there for game of the year. It was a back and forth affair towards the end, but in the beginning, Rams basically up 17-7. A blocked punt, return touchdown pretty much was, I'm not going to say the dagger, but once that happened, personally, your boy being a Bills better kind of felt like, yeah, that's the one that usually it's hard to come back from, because shout out Coach Fem, my old college football coach. He told us, I believe, if you have an 80% chance to win the game if you block a punt. I forget where he heard that stat from or who told him that. I just remember hearing it from him. So that's just something I live by. If a team blocks a punt or anything like that in the game, all of a sudden it's like, all right, I think that team's officially going to win now. Now it's just a matter of watching to see if this other team if you can get any vibes of like, oh, this team has a chance to come back or not. So, for example, for the Bills game, I saw a punt happen, and I'll admit, like, oh, shit, the Rams won this game. Nice. Let's see if the Bills can do anything to kind of come back. And I'll admit, Bills wrote me in a little bit. They were showing some stuff where it's like, you know what? The Bills might just be able to come back to this, because, god damn it, is Josh Allen, oh, my goodness. 22 for 37, 342 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, and rushing-wise, 10 rushes, 82 yards, 3 touchdowns. I think he's the first quarterback ever to, what was the stat? Josh Allen becomes the first player in NFL history to have 3 passing touchdowns and 3 rushing touchdowns in a single game. And they lost! Truly shout the Rams. Rams played really good. This was Rams, I'm not going to say their season was on the line, but their season was pretty much on the line. If they did not win this game, you're talking massive, massive road to climb to get up into playoffs and everything, stay in contention. Especially with the Seahawks winning against the Cardinals, which we'll talk about here soon. But Rams, they showed up saying like, hey, we are not going out without swinging. And they did. Puka Nacua, man. 12 for 14, 162, 1 touchdown. He had a breakout game. Rams across the board. Cooper Kupp 5 for 92 and a touchdown. We gave out his over on the show. Shout out. Felt like that was coming, especially after a quiet game that he had. Tutu had a great game. 2 rushing touchdowns for Kyron Williams. Blake Corum had 8 for 34. Puka Nacua had 5 rushes for 16 yards. Damn, they're giving the ball a lot in them jet sweeps. Awesome game by the Rams. You truly cannot take anything away from the Bills. For the Bills, it's just like, man, that's one that sucks to lose, but let's be honest, they already clinched the division. They probably aren't getting the 1 seed. So they're probably getting the 2 or 3 seed at this point. And so they did not nearly have as much to play for as the Rams did, so it's not, I'm not going to say it's a bad loss, but it's a shocking loss because you definitely came in thinking, all right, the Bills are going to be able to handle business, especially with how good they've been looking. And the Rams, like I said, 23 for 30, 230 passing, 2 passing touchdowns from Matt Stafford. They didn't lay down quietly. And now, all of a sudden, if you look at their division, which we will talk about here in a bit, they might have a chance because those Arizona Cardinals, let's talk about them. 18-30 loss for them, the Seahawks. They look good, man. Cardinals scored that I'll admit, as a guy who picked, we'll talk about it in Pickem when we go over Pickem tomorrow as well, but your boy got second in Pickem for those of you who are going to watch both shows, and this game basically saved me because if I would have taken Arizona, I was screwed, and I would have not got anywhere near the podium, but we picked Arizona, which got me to flip points on a lot of people, which was massive, and I'll admit, we picked Seattle, First touchdown goes to Kyler Murray, throws a 41-yard touchdown to Michael Wilson, and I'll admit, right away, I'm like, shit, I was on the wrong side then, maybe. Then the Cardinals would proceed to throw 2 interceptions right after that. And then it was all Seahawks. Seahawks would go up 17-7 in the first quarter, and then they're up 24-10 at half. And that's all she wrote pretty much. Kyler just was out of it right away. Like I said, he threw a first touchdown right away, a deep bomb. So then he tried to push the ball down the field a little bit, threw 2 picks right after that, which is a very, very tough look for the Cardinals because winner of this game, we also gave out Man, a lot of good happened in this game for us this week. This was the game of the week for your boy. Because not only did the Seahawks win, and we gave out their money line, not only did the Seahawks win, and we gave out them the win the division, not only did the Seahawks win and do all that for us, they also hit their season win total over. And with the Giants loss we just talked about a few games ago, man, A few people took out JC's nasty boy lock of the season, which was basically something I gave out in May on this channel. We gave out some win totals. We gave out my 4 favorite, I believe. Because now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, man, did I don't think I gave those out in May, but I definitely placed them in May. It was the Giants win total under 6.5. Pittsburgh Steelers over 8.5 wins. We also had the Denver Broncos over 5.5 wins. And the last one was the Seattle Seahawks over 7.5 wins. Was the last one we needed. And they got it with this one, which ended up being 20. I think it was 25 to win 312 was the payout. Just kiss, man. Shout out to Seattle Seahawks, but oh man, was that awesome. It was a great, like I said, great weekend for your boy betting wise. Had a few futures cash out. Can't wait to talk about the college football playoffs because man, boy, what a weekend. But Seahawks, like I said, Seahawks had a great weekend for them as well. Big game for Zach Charbonnet. Shout out to him, probably having his best game since he's been out of college. Finished with 38 fantasy points, had 22 rushes for 134 yards, 2 touchdowns. The only reason I know he had 38 points, he's on my opponent's bench. Shout out to that boy Nick for not being able to get into his fantasy account. Shout out that boy, man. Now, for your boy in fantasy, quick side note, we have to play Frawhiger 2 weeks in a row. So I might honestly bring that up a little bit tomorrow, just because we have to play him this week for basically a meaningless game, and then we play him next week in first round of the playoffs. So going to be a big game for your boy. But like I said, overall, Kyler, 25-38, 259, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Cardinals has just been weird, man. This second half collapse happens again. The fact that it just happened again and it's happening with them. They at one point, I think they were lost 3 straight. I think 3 of their I think they've lost, let's see, 1, 2, 3. They've lost 3 in a row after going on a 4-game win streak. I mean, it's just, you got loss, win, loss, loss, win, loss, win, 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 win. Now loss, loss, loss. I mean, it is. They're a 500 team that I guess won 4 weeks in a row, so now they're regressing a little bit back towards the mean. They got Patriots, Panthers, Rams, 49ers to finish out their season. They have to beat the Rams and the 49ers. They absolutely have to have a chance to make the playoffs because the 49ers are currently, or it's not 49ers, excuse me. Seattle Seahawks are currently 2 games ahead of them now after winning both the games head-to-head. So Cardinals got a massive uphill climb, and shout out to Seattle Seahawks who are now, basically they have the reins of the division. And happened in a weird way, but it did finally happen. Man, Atlanta Falcons, speaking of a team losing the reins of the division, 21 points. Vikings, 42! This game actually was close at first. It was close for the first half. You got a score of 14-10 at halftime, and then, yeah, those Minnesota Vikings took over. Justin Jefferson gets a 52-yard touchdown. Jordan Addison gets a bomb touchdown, and then, or not a bomb touchdown, gets a bomb to get him close. Then he gets a touchdown, or that might even not him that got a touchdown, but he had a great day receiving. Basically in the fourth quarter, the Vikings gets 3 touchdowns straight. The Falcons get nothing. Kirk Cousins, 22 of 37, 344, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Still no passing touchdowns in now, like, I think 5 straight games. So there's something going on there. Makes you wonder what the hell is that. Bijan Robinson had a pretty good game, though. Darnell Mooney had 6 receptions for 142 yards. Jordan Addison, 8 for 133, and 3 of them things. Okay, Jordan. That just made me think of that stupid-ass commercial. It's like, okay, Hyundai. No gas. We don't need to get into that commercial. Okay, Hyundai. We don't need to get into that. Anyway, shout out to Jordan. That reminded me of that, though. I don't know why, but shout out to Jordan Addison, man. 3 of them things, 3 touchdowns. Okay, Honda, Mr. No Gas. Okay, we need to stop. That commercial's so goofy, honestly. Anyway, though, speaking of goofy, Kirk Cousins been goofy as of late with a few of his games. He's just not healthy. Is he old? Is he out of his prime? Those are all questions I'm kind of asking myself now. Because the Falcons have been on a horrendous slide. Lost 4 games, lost 5 of their last 7. I mean, they were hot at one point, and now it's just been, man, they're talking losses to the Seahawks, and they beat the Bucs, beat the Cowboys. And you get lost to the Saints, blown out by the Broncos, 38-6, go into your bye, lose a heartbreaker because Cousins throws 4 interceptions, 17-13 to the Chargers, and now you lose 42-21 in Kirk Cousins' revenge game. Are we going to see Michael Penix at this point? That is starting to get where I'm starting to really wonder that. And then, hey, we've talked enough about the Falcons. Minnesota Vikings, man. We came out on this show beginning of the season and said, this is going to be the team that's the season from hell. They're dealing with all these injuries and everything. Little did we know, not only was it the 49ers, but the Vikings weren't even going to bat an eye. Sam Darnold, playing pretty good, man. That dude definitely has played himself into a lot of money. So he's going to be getting a lot of money towards the end of the season. No doubt about that. But past that, I mean, the Minnesota Vikings, they're a really good football team. They are a very good football team. So I'm very excited to keep watching them moving forward and just see what they do. And like I said, look at their schedule. They're one game out of the Lions. Just barely beat them. I don't know who the tiebreaker would go to, but you got Bears, Seahawks, Packers. The Vikings are all playing. I think they could win 2 of the 3 for sure. Seahawks, Packers, I don't know which one would be the toss-up. In the final game of the season against the Lions, that not only could be for a 1 seed, but that could be for the division. I mean, this is going to be NFC North is going to be a race to keep an eye on because, yeah, the Vikings just keep playing good football. The Packers keep playing good football. And those Detroit Lions just keep winning, man, and playing some pretty decent football. We talked about those games, talked about that game. Bucks 28-13. Brock Bowers has recorded the most receptions in a single season by a rookie tight end, passing Laporta. Shout out to that boy, Brock Bowers. Basically the only thing the Raiders have going for them. They lose 28-13. Antonio Pierce continues to kick field goals when your team has no wins, and I know it's a close game, but your team has no. I mean, there's one in the fourth quarter. Fourth quarter, there's 3:08 left, and Buddy kicks a field goal when you're down to make it 13 to. Does that make it 13 to 20? At this point, I believe that makes it 13 to 21. When it was 10 to 21. And they kicked the field goal, so now it's 13 to 21. And then they end up not even, I think, getting the ball back. Or if they did, it didn't matter because the Bucs scored another touchdown. Not the biggest fan of some of these decisions. It's like, dude, why do you just not go for it at this point? It's like you're already down. Your seed losing on the season. But I guess at the same time, they have Desmond Ridder in at this point because Aiden O'Connell ended up having a bruised knee, I believe is the news for him. Aiden O'Connell has bone bruise and knee, not ruled out for Monday Night Football, which is really, really awesome because I ain't gonna lie, he left in an air cast for his knee, so the fact that it's only a bone bruise is awesome, because that could have been way worse. But, I mean, the fact this season's pretty much damn near over at this point anyway, so it's just like, man, shout out to Brock Bowers. He's been basically the only good part about their season, but now they got Desmond Ridder potentially starting for them. Oh, boy. But shout out to the Bucs. Bucs with that win officially passed. Who, by the way, the Falcons have beat the Bucs twice. But because of how bad the Falcons have been on the season, the Bucs now pass them for the division lead. We will talk about divisions and get into it more when we get to that point. But this was a massive win for the Bucs, who the rest of their schedule, and now, rest of their schedule for the Buccaneers. We're talking Los Angeles Chargers. Going to be tough. Dallas Cowboys. They seem like they're shattering from the inside, especially with Micah Parsons walking off the field. We'll talk about that when we get to that point, because that was interesting. I don't know how. I'm torn on how I fully feel about that, but we'll get into that. And then you got the Panthers, and then you got the Saints. So realistically, they can win 3. They should win 3 out of the 4. At least should go 2-2. Based on who the Falcons have playing left, I don't know if we win. We'll go into that more when we get to the divisions, but Bucs have a real good chance they can keep this going. They will be in a really good shot for the division. Kind of a quiet game by Mike Evans, who, if you took the over, so very weird situation. If you took the over when we gave it out Wednesday and Thursday on Rowan's show, you made some money. If you took the over that I gave out in the article, you missed out because it went up from 68 to 73, and then he got 69. So they originally had it the perfect number. But if you look at Mike Evans on the season, that's what I want to look at. Mike Evans for the season, he is at 590 receiving yards, so he needs 410 over the next. They have 4 games left, right? We just said that. That's going to be tough to get him over 1,000 yards, but I'll probably be betting it for sure because I think that they'll probably have to play a majority of their games anyway. The Bucs will, just to make sure, because I think tiebreaker goes to the Falcons, so the Bucs will probably play a majority of their games. So if that's the case, Mike Evans might have a chance to hit that over. Browns lose basically. So they scored a touchdown with 7:25 left to make it 27-14, but this game was all Steelers. And I mean, this just wasn't nothing bad the Browns did. It's just they obviously did not play the best. Jameis didn't have the most third down efficiency. 2 of 13 on third down is really what killed the Browns. They just weren't able to stay on the field long enough. They have 2 interceptions as well, which doesn't help because time of possession was even. And then past that, yeah, the turnovers. 6 punts to 5 punts for each of these teams. So truly, the turnovers just killed it. Turnovers and third down efficiency were what killed the Browns. But let's be honest, we knew the Steelers were going to win this game. Really, really good game by them to just win it, especially with no George Pickens. But let's be honest, we just knew this was going to happen. The fact that they already lost to them at the beginning of the season, and the fact that what were the stats? The Steelers haven't lost to the Browns in Pittsburgh in over 20 years. Now it's 21 years. 0-21 of the Browns now in Pittsburgh since 2003. And, they already lost the first game. They weren't going to lose another one, right? So, all that being in mind, the second half was never a doubt. Shout out to the Steelers, man, for continuing to play good football and just continuing to be a really good team. And, shout out to the Steelers, man. For real, that was just an awesome win for them. They improved to 10-3, first in the AFC North. Still, it's going to be a tight race between them and the Ravens. I think they play the Ravens one more time, too. They do. So they got Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs, Bengals now coming down the stretch. So, nice. This is going to be a fun little stretch for the Steelers now because they got a lot of wins. Now it's like, hey, now you play three really, really good teams and a Bengals team that can be good but is really, really struggling. And also, I want to apologize for all the moving around and everything. For those of you who have not been tuned in with your boy the past week, I've had a hernia. No, I've had a hernia in my groin now for close to going on. This is, I think, week 3 or 4 now. And doctor's appointment is tomorrow for hopefully the lineup of surgery, so that might affect some recording. Obviously scheduled. Hopefully it shouldn't. But like I said, I just want to apologize because I'm sure it's a little bit distracting to watch me just constantly stand up, move, bounce. But if you want to know why, I'll admit I truly cannot sit like this for more than 10 to at this point now, this deep in the show, I can't sit for more than 2 or 3 minutes like that without pain. Really can't sit in this chair like that for more than 15 to 20 minutes in general. So wanted to apologize for that. But so yeah, if you're wondering why your boy looks like a jackass moving around, his groin hurts. Shout out to Saquon Barkley though. Eagles 22, Panthers 16. Saquon sets a new Philadelphia Eagles record for rushing yards in a single season with 1608. He's still on pace to pass the NFL rushing record by, I think, about 70 to 90-ish yards. So he basically has an average Saquon game worth to still hit it, which is awesome. We're going to check out those betting odds when we get to that portion. What don't we just talk about now? Biggest takeaway from this game, we can't fade the Panthers anymore just blindly. I felt like the number might be a little bit too big personally, but it's one of the things I'm like, yeah, Eagles have been so good. Let's be fair, that's probably a hard game for them to get up to when they've been so good in all season doing all that. It's like, all right, now we got to go play the Panthers, and let's get up for that. But, by the way, Josh Allen recorded 3 rushing touchdowns, 3 passing touchdowns this week. It's plus 40,000. I bet $1, you win 400. Come on. No, but in all seriousness, though, going back to what we were just talking about with the Panthers, they've just been playing really, really good. Bryce Young seems to be so much better. So this is something where, by the way, it's on record, plus 250 now. Hey, add an extra 0 to that, and that's basically what it was when we placed it. Hey, now. But no, look, overall, though, Bryce Young, he looks so much better, man. He looks like a completely new man. That benching was really, really awesome for him. The bench was... Anthony Richardson had 2 really good games, too, as well. So it goes to show you, hey, maybe letting these guys sit for a minute and watch might not be bad for them. But no, overall, I'm truly... good win by the Eagles. They were able to win, pull it out. Great win by them. We aren't even shocked at this point. They just continue to win. Saquon looks good, though. There's some drama with them, with A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts and all that. I just chalk it up to number 1 receiver divaness and all that. There's nothing... I'm not being disrespectful or anything, but it's just hey, he's number 1 wide receiver. He wants the damn ball. And I'll admit, watching the film back, there were some parts where it's hey, he probably should get the ball a little bit here, but hey, you got to chalk it up the game. If you have a great receiver like that, you're going to deal with some stuff like this occasionally from time to time. Not all the receivers do it, obviously, but hey, they're a great one. They're going to demand the ball and want the ball, and they're going to want the ball. And hey, guess what? They're going to want the ball. But so we don't need to dig too much into that. Biggest thing I'm surprised about is Bryce Young, man. Like I said, he looks playable. Looks like we might see Dave Canales in Carolina for another season at this point, which shout out to that. Yeah, this was just a great game by the Panthers, man. They continue to play good, but heartbreaking news for the Panthers. Jonathan Book retore his ACL. Something that I won't lie to you, as a guy who's dealt with serious injury, currently right now, your boy's on IR with a groin hernia. But no, as a guy who's personally dealt with I mean, I'm not going to compare my shoulder to a knee, but, I mean, I'm not going to say they're the same exact thing, but it's very similar. Like, tearing up your knee, I know the knee one is a lot longer, don't get me wrong about that, but tearing up your knee and tearing up your shoulder, those are very, like, serious injuries. And I've dealt with, like, the shoulder pain and everything. It's like, man, this fucking sucks. And just, like, the fact that, you get surgery on it, you get it repaired. Finally, that, like, scared, it's like, you get scared. Like, it's like, oh, man, am I going to be able to use this again? Can I use this again? I personally finally got to the point where I can trust my shoulder again. I'm living daily life now. I'm able to use it again. It's like normal. For Jonathan Brooks, man, this shit fucking sucks, dude. Like, he's doing all the similar same I just talked about, where you're rehabbing, working at it. And it's like, man, do I trust this knee? Do I trust this knee? And he's finally got to the point where he's like, man, I do trust it a little bit more. We're starting to do a little bit better. And they gave him more touches. The Panthers gave him more touches. And then finally this last week, he re-tears it. Same ACL he re-tore. So my first immediate thought is, man, no wonder it took him so long to get back. There must have been some serious stuff where there's some setbacks. Was it something wrong with the surgery? What was it? But there's another thing, too, is like all this could have gone wrong and he just happened to re-tear it, which, worst part, I think that the part that got me the most is Dave Canales told reporters, crushing for our running back. He says, he's heartbroken, I'm heartbroken. And man, it's really sad, man, because this is a guy now who's retore same ACL twice. Hasn't even played it down in the NFL. I mean, obviously he's played it down in the NFL, but didn't even get like 3 weeks worth of. It's just tough, man. It's really, really sad. You hate to see it because, like I said, as a guy who's dealt with injuries himself, personally, I mean, it sucks. I mean, you go into a dark place. I mean, Buddy's been probably rehabbing for months and months. Finally gets with the team, gets to be around the guys and everything, and now it's like, hey, we love you, buddy, but you got to go back to the rehab barn now, and you got to go into dark places again, and we'll see you on the other side. Like, rehab's tough, man. That's one thing that I think that a lot of people, some people that don't have to deal with it, which is awesome for you if you don't have to deal with it, truly, people take it for granted, man. Rehab fucking sucks. So, shout out to Jonathan Brooks, man. We spent a lot more longer on the Panthers than I meant to, but, man, that just goes to show, I mean, they truly are impressing me with how well they've been playing. Now, I'm not going to light the world on fire. They're going to be amazing next year all of a sudden or anything, but their team definitely keep an eye on for sure. Jets, Dolphins, man. Wow. The Dolphins score first, the Devon Etienne touchdown. Carlson gets a field goal to answer back. Then the Dolphins get a field goal. Is that Isaiah Davis? Is that, I believe so. I just don't want to butcher his name. Yeah, Isaiah Davis, he scores a touchdown for the Jets. So at this point now, very, very, what was that, 13-13? Sorry, 13-15 at this point going into half. Then in third quarter, Devontae Adams gets a touchdown, Jets get a field goal. Tyreek Hill then gets a touchdown. And this point, when the Jets get another field goal, Tyreek Hill gets that touch. I'm trying to remember what point exactly in this game, but it truly felt like a point. It's like, oh, holy shit, the Jets are going to win this. The Jets end up just driving down the field. They're getting points. They're continuing to drive down the field. And the Dolphins were able to get a stop. And I'll admit, the second that they were able to get that stop, immediately bet on my Dolphins money line, betted down again. And I was like, okay, now this might be the chance for the Dolphins to go. And shout out to the Dolphins for real. Tua, he gets a lot of shit for not being able to do stuff off script or anything like that. He did a lot off script in this game, especially in the second half. And truly, that was an awesome work by the Dolphins to win. They get a chance to get the ball back. And they, because the Jets, like I said, they were doing the driving. Kick a field goal, 56 seconds left. It's like, all right, thank God they gave them enough time. It was awesome. They ended up running a pass play to try to get the first down, which I was like, at the time, like, why would they throw it? Just run the ball and force the Dolphins use their timeout, force them to do this, like or keep the clock running. Instead, they throw the ball. Devontae Adams ends up getting tackled out of bounds, which hindsight, I like the aggressiveness to try to get the first down just to win the game completely, but Devontae Adams gets tackled out of bounds, so they have to kick the ball with the clock stopped, and that's the second I'm like, all right, with the bad the Jets have been this season, feels like this might be where the Dolphins get some magic to happen, and sure enough, they drive right down the field. They get some amazing plays on that drive from, not John O. Smith. I think a lot of it was Tyreek Hill. 6 plays, 20 yards. 2 steps back to pass incomplete, steps back to pass to Tyreek Hill for 14 yards. And then he throws it to Waddle for another 6. And then that's basically, once he gets that 6, they're basically already in field goal range. Because the thing I forgot to mention, shout out Malik Washington, amazing kick return to basically set him up at they're 40 to where it's like they need 20 yards to kick a field goal. And sure enough, like they got basically about the 20 to 25 yards to kick a field goal. We go to overtime. They get the ball first in overtime. Don't even give the Jets the ball. They go straight down the field to score. 8 plays. Go right down the field to score. Jonnu Smith. The play that really got him going is they hit a screen out to the right to Jonnu Smith, where it was literally wide receiver screen to Jonnu Smith. Snap, instantly turn, throw, ball to Jonnu Smith. Ran the same exact play again. Snap, throw the ball to Jonnu Smith. Both those plays got 12 yards, 15 yards. And then all of a sudden, 2 plays later, Jalen Waddle, screen out to him. Another 10 to 15 yards, and they end up winning it with a shallow crossing route to Jonnu Smith over the middle. And the Dolphins storm all the way back to win 32 to 26 in overtime. Massive win for them and just another heartbreaking loss for the Jets, who at this point probably going to run this back, and I don't know if that's for their best interest. I don't know, man. The Jets are just in a weird spot where, I mean, they're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, with all the moves they made and everything, kind of going all in on Rodgers. So we're going to see, man. Tough loss for the Jets, though, because that's another game where it feels like the Jets could have won. I mean, they should be 7-6. I forget which show I was listening to this morning, but they were talking about some of the close losses they had and everything. It's like, holy shit, they really could have been 7-6. But instead, they have 4 of those losses flip, and they're 3-10. And the Dolphins, who are now 6-7 all of a sudden, they're sitting right outside the wild card. I'll have to talk about that here in a minute. After we talk about Sunday night football. Been waiting all day for Sunday night. With no Ladd McConkey, the Chargers lose 17-19. Chiefs. God damn it, the Chiefs do the Chiefs things. Let's be honest. 19-17, I think we've seen this Chiefs game. We've seen it enough, not only this year, but overall. Shout out to Quentin Johnson and Gus Edwards for getting touchdowns for the Chargers. Shout out to DeAndre Hopkins catching the only touchdown for the Chiefs. Other than that, they had field goals. And not only did they have field goals, their field goal to win it was a banker. Banks in off the left upright to go in. Chiefs win again. Chiefs win again. Chiefs win again. 12-1 for them, 8-5 for the Chargers. I mean, there's really no reason to go into this game because I can tell you the Chiefs win 19-17. And let's be honest, with how much I've been on the show this season, with how much I've talked about them last year as well, I think most of you can predict about how that Chiefs game went in your mind. Where you go, yeah, the Chargers had their moments where they were in the lead, they kept it close. And there were some other moments where the Chiefs, got something to go their way, and then sure enough, like this time it was a banked-in field goal. But overall, my biggest takeaway from this game was, hey, I give the Chargers mad props. With 4 minutes left, they took the lead on a field goal. Obviously, they didn't win the game, but this Chargers team felt different. Like, there's been years where the Chargers have it close. They end up losing with Brandon Staley, and we're just like, the Chargers going to charge him, man. Of course, they lost that game. This is one where I look at it, and I'm actually kind of like, you know what? I think this Chargers team might actually be able to do some damage. Now, I don't know fully this year because weapon-wise, about called him what the fancy footballers call him, Ladidi McConkey. But he's basically the only, Ladidi is basically their only wide receiver that they got. I mean, because Quentin Johnson's not bad, but he's not a wide receiver too. So, I mean, that's their biggest focus probably is getting a wide receiver. But this is a team now where I look at it like, hey, like it sucks that Patrick Mahomes is in your division because there's not. This is a team that might be able to run that division, truly. That leaves us with the last game because Baltimore, New England, Washington, Denver, Houston, and Indianapolis were all on bye. Cowboys, 20. Bengals, 27. Micah Parsons walked off the field after a very tough loss. That's one of the headlines I remember seeing. Blocked punt by the Cowboys. Ends up getting botched. This is the first time I've seen this in so damn long, man. Where they blocked the punt. It's dribbling down the field, in that point. Just stay away, it's blocked punt. We don't need to grab it. It actually touches a guy. Bengals fall on it. They get the ball back because the guy touched it and didn't fully secure it. He basically gave it to him. And that would lead to a Jamar Chase second touchdown by Joe Burrow. Who, by the way, Joe Burrow, 32 of 44, 369, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Jamar Chase, 14 receptions and 18 targets, 177, 2 of them things. Wow. CeeDee Lamb, 6 receptions, 7 targets, 93 and a touchdown. Shout out to us for 1 reception off from nailing CeeDee to a T on how we thought he was going to play this game. Rico Dowdle, 18 carries for 131 yards. Chase Brown, 14 for 58, but he had a receiving touchdown. Not a horrible loss for the Cowboys. I lied. That is a pretty bad loss for the Cowboys. I was about to say, not a horrible loss for the Cowboys if you look at the score and do all this, but, honestly, not a horrible loss for the Cowboys until you remember how they lost it with that botched punt issue. And it's like, yeah, y'all blocked remember what I said about 80%? You block You block a kick, there's an 80% chance you're going to win the game. They had their chance, and they muffed that shit as bad as they could. I mean, wow. Because CeeDee Lamb scores right away, then Jamar Chase obviously answered back. But then we talked about Chase Brown. Insane one for him to stand on that touchdown. Brandon Cooks ends up getting a touchdown as well. Then Joe Burrow, man. They get the ball back basically on that botched punt, like with close to 2-ish minutes left. I mean, this is truly the thing. Like, they're kicking it away, and I'm sitting here like, wow. They're probably going to lose the game. Like, Bengals might lose this game. And I'm sitting here like, wow, my Pickem season, it's not over, but like, man, this is a massive, like, I'm going to lose 9 points when people have won on this game. Like, we need this game. So I'm sitting here like, wow, Bengals might actually lose. This is over. And then as the punt play happens, you're kind of watching it. And then after the guy touches and everything, and then the Bengals fall on it, and you're seeing them pointing the way the Bengals, it's like, oh my God, the Cowboys did it again. So like I said, we saw Micah Parsons losing his mind on the bench. Like, come on, man. Fuck, man. God damn, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Like, you definitely, like, there's at least, like, 18 come on mans in there. I mean, you see him doing the whole everything. And as the game ended, he'd walked off the field because he's so frustrated. I'm not mad with him showing emotion because you do like that these guys care. And, I mean, it is a competitive environment. It just sucks that it's got on camera, and it sucks that it's like, makes you look like you're bitching pretty bad, man. But at the same time, like I said, that's a tough game to lose, so I really can't blame him for showing emotion. It just sucks because it's like, you know that's going to be a bad look, especially 24 hours removed. I mean, it's a tough look for him, honestly, overall. But, I mean, it's another thing, too, is like I said, the shows that goes to guys here, maybe these guys are a little bit delusional, too. Did he really think the Cowboys were all that? No, truly, overall, my opinions on it is I love the emotion of the guy. I love that he wears his heart in his sleeve in that moment, but just shake the damn man's hand. It's a brother. Yet again, though, NFL's a brotherhood at the end of the day, so I'm sure that a few guys obviously talk to each other at some point, but I don't know. Just, you hate to see it, but at the same time, as a guy who had the Bengals winning, it's like, yeah, kind of happy about that. And then on the other flip side of the coin, if I was Micah Parsons, I think I'd be pretty pissed off too, if that's how we lost the game. So it's him being their best player, I'm sure there was a buildup of not only pressure, but a lot of stuff, a lot of talking. I'm sure there was a lot that built. I'm sure it was not only that pump. I'm sure there's a lot that built at the moment where he just finds like, fuck, man, and just let it all loose. But yeah, that does it for all the week. That's kind of what we're looking at. So we're going to look at the division standings. And then we're going to, so you look at that. Chiefs, I guess that's, Chiefs locked up their division with a, locked up the division. They locked up a first round bye too. Clinched division. Oh, that's just division. Just for division. So yeah, Chiefs 12-1 clinched their division, which I guess, yeah, you got Chargers, Broncos 8-5 right behind them. Damn, is that close. That's a close division. It just sucks that, hey, Chiefs are pretty good at football, huh? Colts are 6-7. The Texans are 8-7. That division, pretty much Colts have to win out to have any chance to win the division. And when it comes to the wild card picture, we'll talk about that here in a minute. They're going to need some wins, and they got a big game this week against Denver. Massive game against Denver. Massive game against Denver. Sorry, I was throwing up my mouth a little bit with the little burps. But AFC North, got the Steelers at 10-3, Ravens at 8-5. That's pretty much who's fighting for that division. Bengals 5-8 right behind them, kind of done. Bills locked with their division. Dolphins 6-7 fighting for their playoff lives. So if you look at the wild card picture for the AFC, you got the Ravens at 8-5, Chargers 8-5, Broncos 8-5. Trying to get in, you got the Colts at 6-7, Dolphins at 6-7, Bengals at 5-8, and every other team has been eliminated from the playoffs contention. So pretty much over these next 2 weeks, we're probably going to lose the Bengals, and then we're going to lose one of the Colts or the Dolphins. I mean, the Colts might be. If the Colts or the Broncos, they're probably out regardless. I think we're literally out. I mean, by next week we should pretty much know who the playoff teams are going to be. If not, we're pretty much waiting for that last seed. At least when it comes to AFC. NFC wise, Eagles clinched their division, which was crazy because the 7 and whatever start the Commanders got out to, 7-2. Now they're 8-5. Eagles lock up that division. Cowboys 5-8, still kind of fighting a little bit for playoffs, but Lions just clinched playoffs. They did not clinch their division yet. Oh, sorry, Eagles didn't clinch their division either. Technically, they only clinched playoffs, but they're probably going to win their division. Let's be honest. Then you got, for the NFC North, you got the Vikings at 11-2, Packers at 9-4. That Vikings game, we talked about that. That's going to come down to the end of the season. That's going to be super exciting. Yeah, that's just going to be a super exciting division there. These are now the two divisions that we're going to for sure keep our eyes on because they're starting to get a little mucky. Tampa Bay, 7-6. First place in their division. Atlanta Falcons, 6-7. Saints, 5-8. Falcons, if they tie with the Bucs at the end of the season, they get the tiebreaker because they beat them twice. Bucs kind of control their own destiny. If they keep winning, I don't see how the Falcons pass them, especially with the Falcons into schedule, because the Falcons play the Raiders, Giants, Commanders, Panthers. I think they'll lose that game, the Commanders. They should win 3 of those games, all 3 of the rest of those games. Panthers might get it week 18 with how good they've been playing. So easiest way to make your division, or win the division at this point if you're in NFC South, just win out. Because both these teams have somewhat lighter schedules. So just win out and don't even make it an issue. And then final division, NFC West, you got the Seahawks at 8-5, just past the Cardinals, who are now 6-7 in third place, and the Rams are now in second at 7-6. So that's crazy. It has now become a division between the Rams and the Seahawks. Your boy has tickets on both those teams now. We gave out the Rams earlier in the season. We gave up on them and took the Seahawks. So if you end up taking both of those with me, we're in a pretty decent spot. But I think the Seahawks probably should win this division. But the Rams have been really, really feisty and just won't go away. So we always have to keep our eye on that. Wow. So that's going to do it for the NFL. Lots to talk about there. College football. I'll admit, we're going to talk heavy college football playoffs over basically this show. Probably talk it heavy over the next few weeks. And then, hey, get them bowling shoes ready, man. We only got one bowl game this weekend. It is South Alabama, Western Michigan. So check out the Pickem Thursday tomorrow. Pickem Thursday on a Wednesday. And we will be talking about all the bowl games. That's next week. Let's be honest. That's next week. We'll probably talk about them on this show, actually, because that's when bowl games start kicking off. But for now, we are going to talk about not Army, Navy, not South Alabama, Western Michigan, which both those games we will talk about tomorrow. We're going to talk about Conference Championship Weekend, where Jacksonville State blew out Western Kentucky 52-12. Not even a contest. Shout out to Rich Rod, who rumors are starting to get hot in the streets for him to go to back to West Virginia. So we're going to be very curious to keep an eye on that. Army, baby. Shout out to them. They beat Tulane 35-14 to win the AAC. Army, baby. Covered for us again. They covered in every single game this season except for one, I think, for us. Maybe 2. Maybe 2 if there's a game. No, I legitimately think 45-20 against East Carolina. I think they covered late in that one. I truly believe that North Texas and Notre Dame. Okay, so there's like 2 or 3 weeks this whole season they didn't cover for us. Other than that, Army was beautiful for us. Did amazing. Bryson Daly went off. He was 2 for 2 for 17 yards. Our passing props didn't hit. But do you want to know why Bryson Daly was only 2 for 2 for 17 yards? 25 rushes for 126 yards by him. 20 rushes for 158 yards by Kanye Udo. 4 touchdowns for Daly. 1 for Udo. I mean, they just kicked Tulane's ass on the ground. And hey, I don't think those boys want to be in West Point in the cold. Boise, baby. Boise State, 21. UNLV, 7. That pretty much sets us up for Boise State got the 3 seed bye. And shout out to us, man. If you followed this show, followed around with Captain by Hook, we gave out Boise at plus 200 about a month and a half ago to make the college football playoffs. We put them in a parlay with Indiana and Notre Dame at plus like 400 to make the playoffs. And hey, they did it for us, baby. Now it's just a question of Ashton Jeanty versus Travis Hunter for the Heisman. I won't lie to you. I've dipped in a lot on Ashton Jeanty. Dipped back in on Ashton Jeanty to where we started off the beginning of the year with. So now it's to the point where it's like, whoever wins, I'm going to be happy with, but kind of got a lot on Jeanty now. But shout out to Boise State, 21-7, massive win for them against UNLV to where now, like I said, we'll talk about college football playoffs pretty much to end it, so we'll get into that here in a minute. They make the college football playoffs. Shout out to Miami of Ohio, getting that turkey dog whooped. I'm kind of glad I cashed out this. Not going to lie to you, I cashed out them to win their conference, I think Thanksgiving. I had to cash it out on Thanksgiving because I had an issue with my bank account to where I didn't have access to my card. So I had no money to bet with at all on Thanksgiving. So it's like, well, I could cash out this Miami of Ohio ticket and have a little bit of money, I guess. So I did that. And, yeah, 30-3. Ohio just absolutely kicked the dog shit out of them. So that really sucks because I didn't want to cash it out, but I had to. And it worked out. Usually it doesn't. Just heartbreaking, man. That's a heartbreaking loss for Miami of Ohio just to get the doors blown off you. But shout out to both teams who at least get to go bowling and keep their season alive. But, man, shout out to Ohio, who loses Curtis Rourke and a few other guys, but doesn't matter. They still win their division or win their conference. Marshall beats Louisiana Monroe 31-3. I had no. Some of the guys I liked, like the Raging Cajuns, so I ended up on them. I had no real side on this game, so I'm not shocked by the score. I lied. I know the real side in the game, so I'm not shocked by who won, but I am shocked by the score a little bit. That was an ass kicking. And for the books, I mean, they had Louisiana as 5-point favorites, and they lost by 28. Not very often see the books off by 32. Arizona State wins 45-19. This was another game that was an ass kicking. Iowa State scores 9 points. It's 45-10 in the fourth quarter. Iowa State scores 9 points in the fourth quarter. Scam Scataboo, 16 for 1. Skater Bob Scataboo. Are we good? Camera just glitched out for a second, but I think we're good. Cam Scataboo, 16 for 170. Two of them things on the ground. I think he even got one in the air. I think he had over 200 all-purpose yards. 16 for 170 on the ground. The receiving had 2 for 38 and 1. I mean, awesome game by Scataboo, who another team, shout out to Arizona State. They get the bye because you know why they got the bye? Clemson, 34-31 victory over SMU because they kick a 56-yard field goal as time expires. That is good. Awesome call for that. But at first, you go in the first half, Clemson, 24-7. You're sitting there like, damn, SMU's going to miss the playoffs, aren't they, because of this now? SMU ends up storming back. Shout out to Kevin Jenkins, who was balling out towards the end. I mean, he ended up helping us hit our first College Nasty Boy of the season. So if you checked out Stay Down Sports, shout out to you. If you followed me all year in these college football Nasty Boys, this weekend that one was fucking you, man. For you who followed me all season with College Nasty Boys, and even every week when I'm still losing, like, hey, JC's hitting the NFL ones, you're gonna get it right. You're gonna get it right. You're sitting there week 8, I'm 0-8, you're gonna get it right. Week 14, 0-13, miss it again. You're like, hey, JC got this, man. He's not going to go over. Week 15, we did it, man. I think it was 15 for 230, puts us up $20 on the year. So, hey, we're not 0-15. We're 1-14. And that's in part because of Kevin Jennings and his 3 passing touchdowns. Well, overall, I mean, this was an awesome, pretty fun game. Second half was truly, truly fun. You could tell that SMU was very, very nervous in the beginning. That they could tell they felt the pressure of, hey, we got to win this. And then in the second half, you could tell Clemson kind of put it in park a little bit, like, hey, let's just get out of here with the win, which they probably did it a little bit too early, but hey, they kick a 56-yard field goal to win. And shout out to the SMU boys and Clemson, who both teams got in, kicking Alabama out. 2 games to talk about left. Texas, Georgia. The biggest news for this game is, as Chip Patterson likes to call him, Bad Vibes Beck. No, Carson Beck, though, he ends up going out with an injury to UCL. Gunnar Stockton comes in. Looks pretty good, but I won't lie, that kid for sure got concussed. That kid got rocked on one of those hits by Texas. I'm glad they didn't call a flag on it, but, man, that boy got rocked on one of those hits. And then Quinn Ewers, man, 27 to 46, 358. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. They lose to Georgia again. Is he just not the same after that collarbone injury? I heard somebody bring that up today, that collarbone injury potentially really affected his collegiate path and what happened with him. And it's like, you know, they might actually have a point. Because, I don't know, he just doesn't seem to have the biggest thing is the zip on the ball. He doesn't seem to have that zip on it that he used to. And even, maybe he just never had it to begin with. And it's just as we've gone along now and got to watch more and more of him, it's just, oh. Yeah, I don't know, but I was shocked they didn't use Archie Manning more. I just expect more Archie Manning in the next game to play. Shout out to Georgia, who, like I said, they lost Carson Beck, but ended up winning this game. And I don't know if Carson Beck's going to come back for this playoffs, man. I fear torn UCL. I mean, because you're talking, this guy went full speed like this, gets hit right here. And the fact that if you're running on the field like this, I mean, this isn't, like, usually people jog on the field. Like, look at my arm. Jog on the field like this. Beck was... That thing was as limp as can be. So I'm very, very curious to see what happens with that. Because, yeah, I don't know. I think I can't fully decide if I like him more or less with him in or out. And that's something we'll have to figure out, as because both those teams are also in the college football playoffs. So speaking of, final game, Big Ten Championship. Oregon, 45, Penn State, 37. Really impressed that Penn State was able to keep it close in this game. And I'm very happy they scored a lot of points. I thought this, because I truly thought Oregon might put up about 30 to 40. I just didn't know if Penn State was going to be able to keep up. And the fact they did keep up, and Drew Allar looked pretty good, and Katron Allen looked pretty good. Man, I think they might be okay. My biggest takeaway from this is like, hey, Penn State just might be okay. But now they got a tough one in Happy Valley, which I am, oh man. Home games and Penn State and big games. Scary combo right there. But yeah, that's going to do it for all those games. Now, like I said, we're going to talk quickly college football playoffs. So we're going to just look at some date and times of games real quick, quickly go over it. So first round of games, we got, oh man, Indiana at Notre Dame at 8 p.m. on a Friday. That's the one that I think tears me up the most. Because as you know, your boy is a Notre Dame fan. And this year, your boy, well, not only this year, your boy's a big Signetti guy in general. We really got put onto him last year with JMU, but big IU guy this year. So the fact that IU's playing Notre Dame, I feel like now I'm talking to myself in both ways where it's like, hey, originally I was like, hey, Notre Dame has a shot to win this game now. Let's go. And then I looked at it, it's like, IU has a shot to win this game. Let's go. So I don't know truly. I don't know which side I'm going to be on, man. I already have no bet. I think I'm going to do the smart thing and bet Notre Dame to win the national championship, and then I'm going to bet IU with the points in this game. So that way, it's a nice little happiness hedge. If Notre Dame goes down, maybe bet them live. But that's going to be a fun game there. SMU takes on Penn State Saturday at noon. That should be a good one. Yeah, sorry, thought I heard something. That should be a good one. I'm probably going to be an SMU in that one, but man, I don't know. We got Clemson versus Texas. That should be very interesting. By the way, I think that SMU spread's 8.5. Probably going to be an SMU there. Clemson, 11.5 point dogs to Texas. Probably a Clemson there, man, especially if they do not use Arch as much. I mean, I will lie to you. I think I'm out on Quinn Ewers. I just don't think I want to put money on that. I'm never putting money on that kid again. Personally, I'm tired of putting money on that kid and just not. And it's not always his fault. It's just he's been around too many of my losing bets now to where it's like, I don't want to put money on that anymore. So we're going to probably stay away from him on that. And then to kick it off at 8 p.m., or to end the night, we got Tennessee, Ohio State. Wow. That should be really, really fun. And then Boise State's going to play the winner of Penn State. And this is all December 31st to January 1st, so we'll talk about these games way down the line when we get there. But Boise State will play the winner of Penn State, SMU. Arizona State plays the winner of Texas, Clemson. Oregon plays the winner of Ohio State, Tennessee. And then Georgia plays the winner of Notre Dame, Indiana. But yeah, man, that'll probably do it for today, let's be honest. I don't think I need to really go into it too much more. We already went super long. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for the support. Really do appreciate it. We'll probably talk a little bit more college football playoffs tomorrow because assuming my breakdowns don't go too long for bets and everything, we'll have a little bit of extra time to talk about some stuff. We'll probably talk about break down my early leans for the college football playoffs because I'll admit I've already placed some bets and everything, so I'll talk some early leans for sure. Kind of what I'm thinking there. And oh shit, just hit the bottom of my chair and made myself short a little bit. But like I said, we'll probably talk about that. But obviously tomorrow we're gonna go over Pickem, NFL bets. We'll talk about the Army-Navy game, go over bets for that, and then we'll go over any bets for South Alabama, Western Michigan. And then, yeah, like I said, after that, we'll probably talk a little bit of college football playoffs, some of my early leans there. But, man, it is crazy to think that NFL, 3 weeks left, or 4 weeks left if you count week 15, 16, 17, 18, so however you want to count it, 3 to 4 weeks left of the regular season, which is absolutely insane, man, that the season's almost over. College football is basically over. I mean, this is going to be our first weekend without, like, a lot of games in a long time. And then, starting next week, I mean, Bonanza. Next week, man, you're talking games on Tuesday, games on Wednesday, games on Thursday, games on Friday. Man. Cannot wait, man. I truly cannot wait. We are in a nice little buffer period. NFL will do awesome for us this week and have some amazing games. College football will treat us nice. And then next week, man, get those bowling shoes ready and get that popcorn ready because we got college football playoffs. But thank y'all for watching. Thanks for the support. Really do appreciate it. Like I said, I will see everyone back in this feed tomorrow to go over bets for NFL and college football. And then we'll also do Pickem, which, hey, watch out now. Pickem's starting to... We got a really, really, really close race coming. Let's just say, people, your boy, and the great words of Deion Sanders, we coming.